All right, so today we're going to dive into Moonbeam and why it is making the news and how quickly this token has started to move. You know it as Glimmer. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to TechPath. Let's dive into it today. Before we do get started on this, I of course want to thank our sponsors, I Trust Capital. If you are considering, right now is the time to do it, considering a crypto IRA, because you can still do this before the tax deadline. Did you know that? You can do that. And it's very easy for you to do it. Just jump into the link below. You can go right to the I Trust Capital website. You can start your own new crypto IRA. There is one catch there, and that is you onboard with fiat. You can't move an IRA coming in. You can't bring Bitcoin coming over. You have to create a new account and start collecting all of your crypto and digital assets over there. Just go to the I Trust Capital website. You'll jump right in there. This was a new announcement. Is the world's largest crypto IRA platform now with 3.5 billion in transactions. So that tells you they're trustworthy in the sense that these guys are, I don't want to say too big to fail, but that's the whole point, is getting into someone that you can trust. They've got a great both desktop and website app that you can go in 24/7 and make your trades inside the I Trust Capital trading mechanism. Big tax advantages here, of course, in our IRA. Here's the cool part. No setup fees, so there's nothing to start. No monthly fees. You don't have to pay monthly. The only thing you'll do is transaction fees, which are a minimum of 1%. So if you compare this to other IRA services out there, this is about half the price of other traditional IRAs. And in many cases, it could be as low as a third of the price if you're using some of the more expensive ones. So it's a really great program. 24 hours a day, you can invest in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polkadot, Chainlink, Cardano, and even physical gold. So very cool. All you have to do to get started, now here's the really cool part, is you get $100 in Bitcoin, $100 in actual Bitcoin. You use our link, you'll get the $100 in Bitcoin when you sign up and fund your account. Very easy to do. You can actually sign up, start the process, and get in and learn a little bit about it without actually funding your account. So it's kind of a no risk for you. At least you can start learning about how to use crypto IRAs in the future. All right, let's dive into Moonriver, because this is one that of course has been on the fly today after its release this week. And as you guys know, Moonriver is in Moonbeam, kind of the same element mover. If you have not been tracking what's happening with Moonriver, the Moonbeam component of this is Glimmer. That's the trading token. But Moonbeam is an interesting project in the sense that when a lot of people look at what parachains are within Polkadot, and just so let's kind of back up here for the new people. Polkadot is one of the best, if not, I would say, in the top three in terms of altcoins and projects in general. And if you look at Polkadot and Kusama, which are essentially split chains, this essentially is a platform in which developers are trying to build blockchain projects for. So they do these things called parachains. Now, parachains is no more than a crowd loan. And if you've ever done investing in small startups, there's all sorts of platforms out there like Angel Invest, different types of crowd sourcing and crowd funding platforms. That's essentially what a Polkadot parachain auction is. It's enabling different projects to compete to win these auctions. If they win the auction, then they essentially are tasked into developing a component that will eventually move into the Polkadot ecosystem. And what's cool about this one, which I love, is the function of, and I want to jump to the site here. This is really kind of the magic behind what Moonbeam is trying to do. And this diagram kind of says it pretty much all the way. But the idea is you have Ethereum out there that has been trying to convert. You have a lot of developers on Ethereum, and most of these Ethereum developers are trying to convert and or get into layer 2 and or to other projects, other chains. And what Moonbeam has done essentially is created that gateway for that to occur. They create these things and plug into the Polkadot ecosystem through these things called validators, which essentially gives you the capacity to bring in Ethereum-based projects very simply and really just rock on it. I think that's one of the key things, that what they're trying to do is a missed opportunity right now in Ethereum, especially with gas fees and all that kind of stuff that's out there. Now, what makes this really cool is the ability for you to actually stake your Moonbeam. Now, there is a process that you need to go through to stake Moonbeam. And we'll also look at the charts too, because I'm going to show you a run up on that. And there's a lot happening out there. There are two elements within this. They call it cross consensus message format, XCM. I don't want to get into, as my guys say, the sweaty nerd side of this, but essentially this is one of the protocols that enables all of this to happen, along with something that is called SPREE, which is Shared Protected Runtime Execution. Again, super dev talk, very big. If you look at what they're trying to do here, you can opt in on special runtime logic. You get into the idea of where this is going, in the sense of they've put a lot of work behind trying to convert what's happening in the Ethereum blockchain in moving this into the Polkadot blockchain and being able to end up doing and executing on generating projects that would essentially be able to jump to the Polkadot or to Polkadot chain. So why is this important? When you look at what's happening with Ethereum and gas fees and the number of Ethereum developers and projects that are out there being developed, you see so many, and we've talked to many guys who on this channel, CEOs, different dev leads, etc., who are all trying to figure out ways to essentially create an element from, or a bridge from, Ethereum to other aspects, including layer 2 protocols. All those kind of things are happening. This is a real problem until ETH 2.0 gets out and then is really vetted to a certain extent. So we may see this being years down the road before this could happen. So in the meantime, a lot of this is really needed. And I want to jump to staking points. This is something that they have opened up on. Let me kind of just jump up here a little bit. So you can stake your Glimmer right now. Key points here, be aware of a few things. You can stake 50 Glimmer. You're not asked to stake less. There are minimum awards that you can do as well. There is a process that you can go through to do this. Much like any other staking project that's out there, you can go through the process of, just like if you're staking Axie or things like that, you're going to plug in your MetaMask wallet and then, of course, be able to go in and stake those. Unstaking period, if you want to unstake your tokens, you'll have to wait 7 days, no longer than Moonraver's unstaking periods, which is 2 days, but still shorter than Polkadot's, which is 28 days. So pretty good deal there. There is a collateral choice that you have to make, which happens in the staking process. I know this sounds complicated, but it's not super complicated. So you only choose one collator versus multiple in a Polkadot stake. You must exercise some extra due diligence to make sure your collator has a good track record. And that's pretty straightforward. They have this website, and I'm going to probably put a couple links in the description, but you can check the APY of each collator by this thing called Stake Your Glimmer. And let me just open that one up just to show you. This is where it gets into the breakdown of the different collators, which are right here. So you can kind of take a look at all the different options, what kind of backing they have over here, and whether or not they've got, this one has a giveaway going on with 1,000 Glimmer. So they're all competing to try to win your staking Glimmer options. So lots of availability here, which just tells me there's a big network that's out there. Now there is a ton of tool sets that are out there in terms of being able to do that. Like this particular one right here, Diversified Validator Network is one of them. They're doing the 1,000 Glimmer giveaway to jump into that one. So that one might be one worth it to take a look at what they're doing. Now let's go over here to this page, and this is really where it's going to kind of break down how you can go into it and where you can stake it. And there is a really good video on this that I'll also leave a link to. And let me just show you a quick run of this one. I'll turn the sound off. But anyway, this video will go through the full detail of being able to actually stake your Glimmer, and this kind of gives you the component. Right now it's getting ready to plug in its MetaMask to be able to tie into this, and there are some elements within it. It also allows you to actually select your collator within this staking process. So it's a pretty cool and well-built process here. Here he's plugging in his MetaMask account. You do have to be on the Moonbeam network. You connect your wallet, then you can go right into the process of staking. It's going to go into your delegations right there. You'll select your collator right here. That goes back into that group that we were just looking at. And we'll continue on down. Let's say how much Glimmer there's being staked, so you can kind of see basically the book. There's the collator he selected, Orange Skies. Then he's going to go out and do the delegation, which is how much. And essentially that's the process. He's staking 50 right now, and that's going to do it. Now, what does this mean when we get into the percentage right now? And I want to kind of highlight this right now. Current APR on this, right up there in the top right, you guys will see it, 194%, 198.4%. Now, how long will this last? I don't know. You know, the key here is that it is a process, and of course, this is one of the reasons that we are seeing such a move on where Glimmer's project is going, and how that is potentially going to be something very special to watch. Now, the question is, will Glimmer the token, because there's a couple of angles that you can take on this. You could buy the token and then stake it, because that's where your rewards would be. Even if the token goes down, your valuation for staking percentages, I would watch this very closely, could end up being your profitability opportunity rather than the token price itself. Make sure I make that very clear. If you're buying the token, we'll just use an example at, let's see what Glimmer is going for right now, trading at $13, and we'll show you this in a second. It's trading at $13. Let's say you bought that token at $13 after it's pumped, because it has pumped. If it goes to 20, you've made money on the token and maybe you never staked it. But let's say it goes down to half that price, so $7.50. At $7.50, if you're going in and you're staking that now, you're gaining 198%. So that's where your potential profitability could be, as opposed to actually being in the token itself. So there's some angles here, and I think some of the more savvy blockchain investors are starting to understand these elements out there. And one thing to pull up, and I want to show you guys what to do here on this when it comes to Glimmer. You can kind of see what has happened here in just this 1 day period. We'll go to the 7-day. This was when it launched. It got that, that nice bot bump up to $53. But really, this area right here is the one I'm very interested in, because this could potentially represent some sort of floor. Let's assume that high, which happened right here on January 11th of $27, and then it floored out, and we saw a lot of liquidations and continue to move now. Now that is a potential, because it's still trading at $9 out here in the floor. And these are the kinds of charts that we've talked about before to identify some of these projects. This happens a lot with play to earn gaming. So you look at that big bump, usually there's a little bit of a backside bump, which there was with Glimmer, and then there's usually that kind of that nuclear winter period of time. If you are a moderate risk, because this is tied to Polkadot, it's a parachain winner, that's a fairly moderate risk. It's not a super risk, at least in my opinion, in the way that I analyze stuff. Now, before we get into the charts, remember, these are market movers. The concept behind market movers is pretty straightforward. It is not a financial advice. The idea is to provide you data, give you some research, and give you some understanding of a project that hopefully helps you move into doing a little bit more research and going in on your own and making that decision. Now, one thing about Glimmer is it's getting easier and easier to grab. It actually opened up on Binance, KuCoin. For you international guys, Gate.io. It's over on Kraken. You can get it over here on CoinDCX. A couple others, Hotbit, and some people. There's actually quite a few people that trade on Hotbit. It's moderate right now though on the listing, but most of these are going to be available. I would go to KuCoin if you have a KuCoin account. If you don't, it's fairly easy to get into KuCoin. That's a good one to try to use. If you're international, I would go with Gate.io. That's another one that is very limited KYC. Or if you're Binance, and that's going to be a question if that's Binance US or Binance International. Probably going to be Binance International. So I would probably go and target KuCoin in that direction. All right, so let's get into the chart and talk about where this potentially can go. All right, so as I said, we looked back at the chart there. I want to kind of show across this sentiment how quickly it's moved in a very short period of time. Now, I do have Market Cipher on TradingView right now, and there are some analysis here I want to pull against this. But back here, we pulled a mid-tier sentiment pull on the 13th, right here on early day, 74.61 and a 69.34. And then within just a few hours, this thing started to pump, and we pulled another one this morning. This is now at 76.22 and 76.31, which identified the potential for high movement, which it did. But even our indice with the CPI was not able to track this high level of movement. And we do have a VWAP on this right now, which is a volume weighted average. And I'll look at VWAP sometimes just in the sense, I always will lean into the sentiment, because always sentiment to me is the killer indice for us, because it starts to identify price action. And the amplification is often the one that I'm really interested in, because that gives us more of the price action over a period of time. Now, there are some things happening right now, and I want to kind of show this because it's actually happening live right here. You'll notice that there's this little chunk right here. It started to see this downturn when it's happening. So this is happening real time as our indice is painted over this. Now, could we see this come right back down here? Sure, it could do a fallout and see another rise coming back up in where it's going. Right now, that doesn't show heavily when you look at it in this kind of scenario, but 76.31, I'm going to pull this one because this is such a hot project and it's moving so quickly. We will be staying on this one pretty heavily to understand if there's big sentiment moves, because if people start to figure out that the staking option is here and it's somewhat easy enough to do, this could be one of those that starts to drive this one upwards. Now, don't know, but the point being, if you start to own Glimmer, you got two ways to make money. And one way in terms of staking is almost 200%. So that is worthy of my attention, especially when you have something that is solid as a parachain winner for Polkadot. So that's kind of the layout of this one. As you guys get into it, and I want to get your feedback in the comments. When you are looking at projects, do you care about these externalities that are additional ways to earn money? Maybe it's on a play to earn game, maybe it's a stake-in model, maybe it's a digital asset model. What is interesting to you? Do you look at those kind of things? Do you want to stake more? Do you want to just buy the tokens and ride them out? I'm kind of curious on what you guys are doing out there in the space right now. If you're listening in over on the podcast, make sure and give us some stars over there. On iTunes, it's pretty simple. You can just favorite it. But on Spotify, this is new. Here recently, you can actually do ratings now on Spotify. So give us some stars on Spotify. Hopefully you love it, and this is something, give us some 5 stars over there. But the real magic to this show is to jump over here to YouTube, and you'll get a chance to see the chart that I just revealed to you about where Glimmer may go. Just as a reminder, Glimmer could go right now. I'm still showing Glimmer a high at 14 or 15 and a low right around the 14. And that's if it plays out by really in the next day or two, this could be moving. So we could see a lot of volatility on this one. This may be one you want to rest on and kind of wait unless you're interested in trying to stake. That would be the one clarification. All right, so tune into the YouTube show. It's very easy. Just search Paul Barron Network. You'll find us. And of course, you can subscribe. Hit the bell so you get notifications for our live streams. We are nearing in on the 300,000 mark, so get ready. We're going to do a big giveaway. And we have some other stuff happening with some other giveaways. We just got a partnership deal that is going to be giving away $1,000 in Bitcoin coming up by the end of January. And you're going to love it. You'll be able to follow me on Twitter, just at Paul Barron, because the details will be spilling out on Twitter coming soon. If you want to reach me, hit me there on Twitter. It's just at Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.